So then there was this thing. What happened in yesterday's Women's World Cup match, right? The mood was hostile. Like for the first time, I saw, but
Really?
slightly,
You felt it was
slightly
hostile?
hostile,
Yeah, I
meaning
agree. I
the-
agree. I agree. I agree. I agree. There was
it was,
spice there. There's no doubt there
yeah,
was some spice there.
yeah, yeah. And to be honest, I prefer all of this childish argumentation compared to the nonsense of the hugging that was going on during the 2021 T20 World Cup. Let's be very clear about that. Those photographs were honestly embarrassing for anyone involved and everyone involved, right? So that's the kind of nonsense that these guys were doing, right? I mean, so actually, Kushal, I have another point here. This Women's World Cup, I'll assume we had boycotted Asia Cup, and the Women's World Cup was the first time India were playing Pakistan again. Do you
Mhm.
think the Indians' public reaction would have been as visceral as the Asia Cup?
Not at all. In fact, people would have watched this game. They would have celebrated the Kambal Kutai of the Pakistanis, because obviously it was going to be nothing else than the boss. What is that team, yaar? मतलब वो bat मार दिया stump पे. Then she's lifting the bat and she's standing there and getting run out. Then the wicket. Like, why is Pakistan having a women's team? Like, what is the standard of that cricket? Like, basic nahi, yaar. They
They
don't
they
do that
lost to
basics.
they lost to Bangladesh women. Just to give you an idea.
Like, Bangladesh women have a school system, boss. They have like a proper school system. And I feel terrible. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, I feel terrible. I feel I have a lot of empathy for any woman trying to play Pakistan cricket for Pakistan. By the way, their
Yeah,
performances over the last 6-8 months had improved a lot. They have not turned up in this World Cup. They've disappointed themselves in this World Cup, but they had started to get better.
Yeah.
Uh, they are, I think, they come the most short-handed into a tournament because of their social setup. Right? If you had a team of Afghan women, they'd be the only ones worse off. But you
There is
don't.
a
You
team
can't
of
have a team
Afghan
of.
women, but they're in the US right now. They can't obviously be in Afghanistan, can they?
Yeah, they can't really call themselves an Afghan team then. Let me be clear.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, uh, there was a little bit of an edge yesterday, and in between when Sidra Amin was batting well, if they had batted together at 5 down for another say 5 overs, the game was going to get a little tight. It was going to get a little bit tight.
Yeah.
But there's just too much from our side. I wanted to talk about this tournament. I don't know if you guys followed this, but the third ODI between the Indian and Australian women
Yeah.
was a legendary ODI. Recently in the
750 runs.
bilateral series in
750
Delhi,
runs. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It was nearly their 438 moment, man. Nearly
Yeah. Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Nearly that. Yeah.
We this time around the Indian women have new. My problem with Indian women's cricket is they get into positions and they are the masters of snatching defeat from victory in big matches. They've done this
South
just too
Africa.
often.
South Africa style. South Africa style.
No, no, we're worse. We the kind of defeats we have taken. This women's team has taken much worse than anything the SA men have ever done. Much worse. That loss to the SA women in the World Cup in Australia last time around was one of the worst defeats I've ever seen. Ended off a no ball, by the way. We lost off a no ball. By whom? By Deepti Sharma, the spinner.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
but it's too many. But now you have Sneh Rana batting as low as 8, and you've got uh, Ghosh batting as 7, Sneh Rana 8, and you've got a couple of others who can score. They can score
Yeah.
late on and they can turn games around. You just need
That
one out of
100 by Smriti.
Mandana, and they finally got rid of Shefali Verma, who was basically playing arrogant cricket, not applying herself.
Yeah.
This team is the only team I think other than England that can put the markers on this great Australian side.
Yeah. 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 But did you see that Australia match? 5 down for 120. Everyone thinks they're dead and gone, and then Ashley Gardner plays one of the great innings of all time to finish New Zealand off. Like, it's insane. 5 down. It's basically like the Australian side of 2003. You're 5 down.
Brother,
Doesn't
it's
matter.
the
You get
same. The
5 on.
same thing happened to us in our first match against Sri Lankan women as well. We were
Yeah.
also 120, 130 for 6, by the way.
Yeah.
And
And
from
then
there,
they
we got to
pull us out
260,
for 5.
270.
Yeah.
That was Richa Ghosh.
Yeah.
That match was Richa Ghosh. This happens in women's cricket, man. Their depth in batting is increasing. Their depth in bowling is a little bit lesser. Most of the bowling is spin bowling. But the competitive element is there. So it's watchable. It's eminently watchable. When the best teams play each other, it will be eminently watchable, I believe.
By the way,
I
I
mean,
have
don't
seen.
don't watch it with the eyes of wanting to see pace bowling the way you see it with men's cricket.
Absolutely.
You watch it
Absolutely.
for a competitive spectacle. It's actually
Yeah,
a
I
great
can't
watch.
watch women's cricket. I can watch women's MMA, women's tennis, women's hockey. I find cricket that doesn't appeal. I tried to watch it, can't.
I'll actually
Too
say
slow,
this.
no? It's
Women's
too slow.
football, women's football is absolute rubbish. And I say this as a person who's actually watched it.
I
Absolute
I've
rubbish, by
actually
the way.
watched a couple of Man United women's games. I liked them, man. I really enjoyed
Yeah,
them. I
I
quite like
can't
this
watch.
one player they have, Ella
I
Toone.
love women's MMA. In fact, some of the women's MMA matches are far
Brutal.
better than
They're brutal, right?
any.
Yeah.
Like women's boxing is amazing. It's
Hmm.
amazing. Combat is amazing. But no, sorry, cricket just not my thing. I just can't watch cricket. I love the fact that our girls do well. I am happy about the fact that an international player, Indian women's player, ODI match fee is the same as an international men's players match fee. I love all those things. I'm really happy for the girls. But बस मुझे मत बोलना मैच देखने को.
ठीक है भाई, ठीक है, ठीक है. But there's that other part, in fact, into this. When I was watching women's football and I was comparing it to women's cricket looked competent for me. Women's football didn't. Let's put it that way. It was that.
Look, women's cricket, the biggest problem is they are not working on technology and rules that are helping the girls. For example, the size of the ball. For example, the whether women should have the 22 yards. I'm dead
Hmm.
serious. Should they
No,
have
Yeah,
you're
22
right.
yards?
You're right because it's such a loopy. Like the fast bowler is so loopy, na?
Yeah.
Doesn't need to be that loopy.
Whether it should be 22 yards, whether we have to change a few of the rules around the the field placements and stuff like that. We're not looking, see, again, we're looking at women's sport not through their ability and how do we make that
yes.
product exciting.
Right,
We
it's
are
from
basically, the
it's
men
from the
make the
lens
rules.
of a sort of forced equality. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
and
crazy
it's
thing.
not that. It should not have been that. If you really want to make an exciting product, you have to do some research and solid scientific research on how to make the women's product as attractive as the men's product. They are not doing that. They just refuse to do that, and I find it annoying. And the product that I see as a cricket lover, listen, I don't mind dibbly dobbly ballers. Being very honest, like men's cricket, there are a lot of dibbly dobbly ball. In fact, 90s was all dibbly dobbly ballers.
You can't be only dibbly dobblies and spinners. Yeah.
Yeah. One exception, 83
Look,
World
it's
Cup
not
final.
happening for a while. So when you watch a couple of the South African girls bowl, you can see the nip, you can see the pace. When
Yeah, yeah.
Julian Goswami used to bowl, you could see the nip. You could see
Perry
much quicker.
also. Elisa Perry too. Elisa Perry
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
At
So
her
it's
peak.
there. Some of them are there. We just don't have one right now. It'll come, I guess, in time.
And listen, I've seen Smriti Mandana bat. She is a joy to
He's a
watch.
gorgeous batsman, boss.
She's a
Gorgeous.
joy to
Beautiful
watch.
bats.
And the way Harmanpreet bullies bowlers is very entertaining to watch. I've seen the gulf between Australia. Australia is the team I can watch. They are watchable.
Point taken.
Australians women's team is a team that is a team. Let's be very clear. India is slowly catching up. The fastest, in fact, is India
Yes.
in terms of catching up. But the reality is the gulf between Australia, if the rest of the world forms a team, right, and they
Yeah.
play the Australian women still win.
Yes. It's similar
That's
to
how
the
much the gap is.
2003-4 sides of Australia. It's similar to the 2003-4 sides
Because
of
the
Australia.
Australian women's side is literally a
No,
country
no, no, no.
mile nahi.
Bro, you remember the peak era of their men's side?
Yeah.
Their men's peak era looks like child's play compared to what these women have been. And they've
Yeah.
been doing it for 25, 26 years. They've been
Yes.
completely dominating the game.
Because it's a
Yeah, yeah.
professional sport in Australia. The
That's
women's
right.
game
That's
is a
right.
professional sport in Australia, and they are respected. Now in India, it's
And
slowly.
as my wife says, देखते ही पठानियां लगती हैं बिल्कुल. दम
Yeah,
होता
yeah.
है इनमें.
So not only that, and now in India, why the money has come in because the WPL has
Yes.
No, but those
Yes.
matches
tremendous
were
money
good
has
to
come in now.
watch. Kushal, there were some of those matches were very good to watch. The stadiums were reasonably full. The matches
Reasonably
were
full.
close.
Boss, एक India versus Australia T20 मैच DY पाटिल में हुआ था, last year हुआ था शायद.
Yeah, yeah,
Bhai,
yeah.
that's
It
a
was a
70,000
sellout.
seater. Yeah? That's a 70,000 seater, bro.
It
That's not
was
bad.
a sellout. DY
No,
Patil
I'm
was a
saying
sellout.
even the women's IPL was a sellout very often.
Sellout,
And
yeah,
games were
yeah.
good.
Yes,
That final was a good match. Huh?
Hey,
Really
Indians
good
will
match.
watch gully cricket. You're talking about Indians not watching women's cricket. Indians will
No,
go.
but
अरे
that is
local
why
match चल रहा होगा, देखना शुरू हो
that
जाते
is why the economics of the women's game in India is set up for us to be able to dominate this format in the coming decade.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and honestly, why do you think all the women players, the WPL was not just the greatest thing for Indian cricket. The WPL was the greatest thing for women's cricket overall.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Absolutely,
You
Yeah,
look
absolutely.
at
yeah,
the
yeah,
kind of
absolutely.
money every
Yeah, yeah, you
single
need that kind of
team
money in the
player is
game.
making.
Otherwise, women's cricket would fade away. It will completely die. Listen, there was a compulsive projection given to the sport, women's cricket, particularly in the 2000s, and
Yeah,
it's that investment is starting to prove worthy
Yeah,
now
see, 10
over
years
the
down
last
the
five
line,
years,
I
which
believe
is a
I will be
great
the.
thing. It's an excellent thing.
I think 10 years down the line, I might end up watching women's cricket. Right now, I can only watch the Australians play. No
No, no,
one
I,
else.
I I still like watching them play because I think the games get competitive with skill. So I like swing. So the slower bowling, like that, the
yeah.
amount of swing they get is
That
nuts,
is
bro.
insane.
And bowled up.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
Insane.
absolutely crazy levels of swing.
It reminds me of that Imran Khan early career swing.
Yeah, yeah. It's what men get with proper ball tampering.
Yeah,
Nothing less than proper ball tampering gets you that kind of swing.
yeah, but
Bro, they
that is
started this far
crazy.
wide outside off and they knocked the leg stump out, man. It's
Yeah,
incredible to
yeah,
watch.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
And it's only at that pace, at
Also,
that release,
fielding
that they get that
standards
sim.
are improving. I mean, you regularly get those clips of incredible women's catches at the boundary.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Harleen Diol, that brilliant catch was a
That's a
big
phenomenal
clip.
catch. That's up there with anything.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But you are talking about the rules, right? I was actually reminded of two things. One is cricket. In cricket, men's boundary lines are a joke in India. They're not a joke elsewhere, except in actually, they're a joke everywhere except Australia. Let's
Bro,
be
they're
very
a joke
clear about it.
everywhere now. Even Australian boundaries are so far. I keep sending you those links from the 90s and 2000s, right? When the boundary used
Yeah.
to be the barrier, used to be the
Literally the
advertising
barrier.
board
Yeah,
itself.
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
It's at least 15 yards in, 10 yards in from that. Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, they have measured those old sixes, right? Those old sixes, if they landed even in the second row, third row, they were 100-meter hits. 100 meters in the
With the
old Australian.
shittiest bats, with the
Yeah.
shittiest bats, man. So you had to take a huge risk to go for those shots. And the quality of timing you need, the quality of the contact with the ball that you need to get it that far is like, that's superb stuff.
And what is absolutely insane about those sixes is the fact that when Richards actually hits a shot, Richards actually hit a few sixes at the MCG, all 100 meters or above.
Oh, that's a beauty. What a hit. What a ripper.
Handle back in his bat. Where it was needed there, that was a magnificent stroke. Away it goes, away and away and away, and he caught it. Nice one.
Nobody is standing near the boundary rope. Nobody even believes that they will get the ball that far. The boundary rope
Oh.
catch was not even a thing back then. But anyway,
Yeah, so
that
now
was
you're coming to another issue, which is over the last 15 years in particular, almost all over the world, if you beat the infield, you're basically getting four.
yeah. You do,
Unless
you
it's
do.
within a 10 to 15-meter range on either side of the boundary rider, you're getting
Yeah,
four because it's
yeah,
just a carpet, right?
yeah.